Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our practice tonight. My name is Jill Davey, and just locating myself as well. I'm one of the Dharma teachers here with True North Insight. My pronouns are she or they, and I'm located in what is called colonially Fergus, Ontario, and this is Six Nation territory, Haldeman Tract treaty lands that I'm a steward of at this time. And we're sharing a practice tonight that is inspired by, really guided by something that was offered from Lion's Roar, which is a Dharma meditation magazine that you can receive online. They also have like a shop with things you can buy there. And in this past week, they sent a newsletter with this beautiful poem from Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's called Breathing. It's interesting when you search breathing, a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, you get lots of different versions and lots of, there's lots of short kind of gathas of different aspects. So this is a particular one that I'll share in the link below on the YouTube recording, but we'll also be using it as a guided meditation tonight. And so I just want to introduce some of the themes that are in here that you may be unfamiliar with or not. You may be very familiar with. That are covered in this poem. It has 4 stanzas, and each one has a different aspect of practice. There's a lot in this poem. It's really beautiful. And so the first stanza is about a practice called metta, loving kindness, the cultivation of friendly relationship with how things are. And he describes this as looking with the eyes of love. And so this can be literally with our eyes, to look upon each other, ourselves, the world with the eyes of love. But it can also be internally seeing how things are for us and for each other with eyes of care and compassion and love and connection. And he uses a metaphor of a flower for this, and it'll make more sense when we go through it. So it doesn't mean, I don't know, love is such a bit of a loaded word. Doesn't have to mean you like it. Love doesn't mean you have to like feel like absolute. It means that you're willing to connect with the moment, connect with how things are, even when it's something painful. That there's a kind attention. Kind attention, I think, is a nice way to describe metta or loving kindness. That whatever is showing up for us, we can bring kind attention to that. So looking at it with the eyes of love, internally or externally. And the next stanza in this poem is about a practice called equanimity, not just a practice, but a quality. And it's a really important part of our meditation practice. And so for this, he uses the metaphor of a mountain and the stability, the presence, the groundedness of a mountain, and describes the waves of emotion. This could also be the waves of mind states, the waves of pleasantness and unpleasantness, the waves of things we like and don't like, want and don't want, that are called the vicissitudes, the things that are coming and going all the time through our lives, in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies. that, we want and don't want, like and don't like. And the stability, the equanimity, steadiness, and presence through all of this inevitability, that it's unavoidable, even though we try so hard, to control everything so it will be comfortable and pleasant and safe and how we want it to be. Doesn't take too long before we realize that's not possible. We don't have that much control, and life is going to keep having these ups and downs. And how do we, our practice is very much about developing stability and presence, calm, insight to withstand these storms, to be like this mountain, and not carried away with the waves. And then the third stanza in the poem is talking about mindfulness. Sati in this practice means mindfulness. And he uses the metaphor of still water, calm, clear water. You could picture this like in that mountain, a mountain lake at the, somewhere near the top of that mountain that's protected all around and has very calm, clear, crystally blue water that perfectly reflects the sky, that's undisturbed, that, and in its calm and clarity, lack of disturbance, lack of hindrances, it reflects the moment perfectly, which in this case would be like reflecting the sky, so that whatever is passing by, the storms, the clouds, the birds, whatever is passing by, is just clearly reflected like a mirror. And that's mindfulness. Mindfulness is just clearly seeing, oh, it's like this right now, without, again, pushing. It has that equanimity in it, without preferring and not preferring and trying to get rid of and to get. It's just a mindfulness means a clear reflecting of how things are. And in this, yeah, and he also uses the mirror there. He talks about the perfect reflection of our mirror mind. And I'll just give a brief mention here in this grouping when he's talking about mindfulness. What I should say, when I think he's talking about mindfulness, I don't know exactly what he means, but this is what it seems like it's referring to me. So I apologize for wording it that way. He also talks about here the refreshing moon of the Bodhisattva. And so I just wanted, if you haven't heard this term before, I wanted to explain a bit what that means very briefly, because it's not from my tradition. The Bodhisattva comes from the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, and I'm teaching from a Theravadan tradition is my training and understanding and practice. So as far as my limited understanding of this, a bodhisattva is a person that is able to attain or reach nirvana. Nibbana is what it is in Pali, is able to become enlightened, free from suffering, fully awakened, and yet decides to delay that so that until all beings can be free from suffering. The bodhisattva is a person that could become enlightened for their own awakening, but makes this vow, this intention, to delay that until all beings are free. And so that's what is, with my limited understanding of that, of what that may be pointing to here when he talks about the refreshing moon of the Bodhisattva, this, which for those of us who maybe aren't connected with that tradition or that have taken that vow, it's our heart, it's really compassion is what it is. It's our heartfelt desire for all beings to be free from suffering. And as much as is possible for us in this lifetime or many lifetimes, depending on your beliefs or understanding, that we'll continue to develop our hearts and minds for the benefit of all beings. Okay, the last stanza in the poem introduces emptiness and spaciousness, or spaciousness first and then emptiness. So I wanted to say a little bit about what that may mean. Spaciousness is well, first of all, I should say, if you're interested in the topic of emptiness, this is a book I highly recommend. Emptiness, A Practical Guide for Meditators by Guy Armstrong. And there's not Emptiness, A Practical Guide for Meditators. And the author is Guy Armstrong. I'll put this in the chat here in the Zoom, and I'll also put the link to it down below in the YouTube video. It's really like not an easy topic, but it's super approachable. And with each chapter or many chapters, he gives practices for you to practice meditation and gradually develop some understanding and hopefully experience of emptiness. Yeah, it's a really good book. And it's a difficulty with translation here, which often happens when we translate these things into English. But emptiness can often sounds like a void, like a black hole, like kind of terrifying for a lot of people, like emptiness. Ooh, that does not sound pleasant when our life is so much the opposite of that. And it doesn't sound appealing for many folks. And so a helpful way perhaps to access what emptiness means is empty of what? Emptiness means it's empty of a permanent self, a continuous, ongoing, individual, separate me. It's the understanding, the insight, the release, the realization of understanding interconnectedness. That this me that likes to feel so separate and so permanent and so solid and so continuous, when we actually directly experience and see our constantly changing nature and how we're completely affected by everything and each other, and not separate from anybody or separate from anything. It's really, so it's empty of a continuous, permanent, ongoing anything. It's seeing that all things are impermanent and conditioned, and there's nothing to cling to. So when and emptiness is actually extremely full of love and compassion and awareness. Emptiness isn't like a dull void pit of nothingness. It's when there's this, in my limited understanding and experience, when we connect to this experience, there's boundless, infinite love, compassion, and awareness. Yeah. So in this stanza, when he talks about sailing through the sky of utmost emptiness, and then he ends with, I am freedom. To connect, the invitation is here to connect with emptiness as being empty of me being the center of the universe and full of love and compassion and awareness. Okay. So there's so much in this poem. It's amazing. There's a lot in here. And we'll see how it goes. I've been practicing with it as a practice, just moving through each of these and just taking our time and feeling into each of these different qualities. And then you can choose one towards the end that you really connect with, to just connect with those qualities for a time. For me, I also there's a bit of a visualization with this, just because of the metaphors and images he's using, but it's very embodied practice. His wording, I am. So it's an embodied practice. And if imagery comes to you, that's fine, but don't feel like we want to keep it also really real for ourselves. For me, these images all work together, of the mountain, the stability of the mountain, that kind of a mountain lake there that's very still and calm in the center of the mountain, and perhaps this flower he's talking about growing beside that lake, and then this spaciousness and emptiness of the sky around that. Okay, so now we'll get ourselves into our comfortable position for practice. You can practice standing or laying down, or my video just went fuzzy there. Let me just see if I can fix that. Okay, I'm just gonna, just for a second, I'm gonna turn off my camera and back on, because it's gone all fuzzy, and that sometimes resets it. 1 second, I'm still here and still here. There it is. Okay. All right, so laying down or standing or sitting with a support, and upright or kneeling, finding what posture best suits your energy and your body tonight or today, whenever you're practicing. Seeing if there's any movements you need to release any tension, or to bring some wakefulness. This is a practice of awakening, and we also want the body to be supported and at ease. So as you come to a posture that is conducive or supports stillness, and then find the posture that's helpful for you for your eyes. For some of us, it's practicing with eyes closed. For others, it may be practicing with the eyes slightly open and just bringing in a bit of light and a soft gaze. See which of those postures for the eyes is most calming and wakeful for you. And then we're just taking some time to allow the stillness to bring settling. And this happens on its own just by becoming still. Just noticing that as you're beginning your practice, you might feel a sense of being stirred up or buzziness, the kind of fuzziness in the head, or vibration in the belly, or tension in muscles. Just let that be known, whatever's showing up for you. And in its own time, with the stillness and the invitation, some of that starts to slow down. Let go, settle down. Like a snow globe that's been shaken up, or a jar of dirt that's been shaken. And it just starts to slow down and settle down. If you're noticing any tension in the face, the neck, your shoulders, hands, belly, see if it feels helpful to let that go or soften. So that as we settle, then it becomes more available to notice the ground. Contact, pressure, support of the ground. And as we move towards this practice inspired by this beautiful poem from Thich Nhat Hanh, I may repeat some of the lines, and then there will be space between where you can just rest with and embody, feel the sensations of these invitations. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. I am the freshness of a dewdrop. Breathing out, my eyes have become flowers. Please look at me. I am looking with the eyes of love. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I am looking with the eyes of love. Breathing in, flower. Breathing out, love. Breathing in, freshness. Breathing out, love. Breathing in, I am a mountain. Imperturbable, still, alive, vigorous. Breathing in, I am a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. The waves of emotion can never carry me away. Breathing in, I am still water. I reflect the sky faithfully. Breathing in, I am still water. I reflect the sky faithfully. Look, I have a full moon within my heart, the refreshing moon of the Bodhisattva. Breathing out, I offer the perfect reflection of my mirror mind. Breathing in, still water. Breathing out, perfect reflection. Breathing in, I have become space without boundaries. I have no plans left. I have no luggage. Breathing out, I am the moon that is sailing through the sky of utmost emptiness. I am freedom. Breathing in space, breathing out freedom. And for these last 5 minutes of the practice, you might like to choose which one of these aspects of our experience is most helpful to you right now. It may be the eyes of love, the flower, the stability, equanimity of the mountain, the clear, reflecting mindfulness of the waters, still water, or the spacious freedom of emptiness. So just checking in with your being. What is most needed? Loving kindness, just clear mindfulness, reflecting what's coming and going, equanimity, steadiness, or spaciousness. If you're feeling uncertain or ungrounded, perhaps coming back to the mountain, sensation in the body. So if you've joined us on the YouTube recording, I will certainly put the link to this beautiful poem called Breathing. This is from Thich Nhat Hanh's collection of poetry called Call Me by My True Names. I'll also put a link to that book, and Guy Armstrong's book on Emptiness that I referenced. And thank you to Lions Roar for sharing that poem. And there's also links down below to offer support to me if you like, as you're able. Yeah, so thanks for joining. Okay.